What's up, everybody? Welcome back into TK Wrestling, and we are back with another TK pod. This time, a lot of big stuff has happened, Matt. Sami Zayn is a WWE champion. Obafemi wins King of the Ring and kind of made his decision. Io wins Queen of the Ring and immediately challenges Liv all over again at SummerSlam this time. So we've got a lot to cover, but before we jump into it, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, hit that noti bell so you see every time we post. And look, drop down in the comments. Let us know what you thought about the takes that you hear on the episode and all that stuff. And hey, if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, do us a really quick favor. Make sure you hit that follow on the podcast and drop some comments, drop a rating even in those podcast formats. I know it doesn't seem like a lot and it only takes you like 30 seconds to a minute of your day, but it makes a huge difference for us, gets us more in the algorithm, helps more people see the pod. So make sure you're doing all that stuff. But Matt, today, like I said, we have a lot to talk about, a lot of ground shaking, storyline altering things that have happened in the WWE just in the last 5 days. And like I said, we got a lot to talk about. So Matt, how are you feeling on this very hot and very busy traffic inducing day?
Dude, no, the traffic out here has been nuts, man. And they got downtown shut down for something when I came back too. I have no idea. So there's been traffic all over the place down here. That said, dude, it's been a crazy week. I almost got on and like live tweeted some stuff after Sami won on, so I was like, oh, dude, that was so big, so unexpected, and so fantastic. I hear that a lot of people maybe aren't as happy as I am about it, but so what, dude? Go Sami Zayn. And yeah, man, it's July 1st today. I don't know when you'll see some of these things, but it's July 1st. We got the USA playing tonight in the World Cup against Bosnia-Herzegovina. We got X-Men 97 Season 2 out today. So there's a bunch of good stuff out today. On the Impossible Octopus, I'm going to be dropping what I think is an X-Men comic rip if I've primed this box correctly. I could be wrong and I open it up into something else, but we'll see. So we got a lot of good stuff today, dude. But man, wrestling, there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, especially after Raw on Monday. Just the combination of those two events, I told you, I think I said in the last show, this is going to set us up and let us know if we're heading in the right direction for SummerSlam. And I feel like BWE, for the most part, hit the nail on the head, Casey. So I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, a lot of interesting decisions that they've made over the last few days that I wouldn't call them bad, but they've made me raise an eyebrow. Let me see where they're going with that. And regarding your Impossible Octopus channel, we got to find with the new Spider-Man movie coming out. Spider-Man Noir is currently going. Doomsday is later this year. We've got to get some Marvel cards opening on there. I think that'd be pretty fun.
Dude, speaking of Doomsday, check this out. I got this from my Comic Tom mystery mail call box. This was in yesterday's video. This is a Doctor Doom cover. Check that Doom cover out, dude.
Hell yeah.
That's Doom Quest #1, limited to 3,000 copies from Johnny DeJarns.
Was this that night on Whatnot that you spent way too much money?
No, this is just I buy Comic Tom's one of the good guys on the YouTube, and he has a monthly mystery mail call where he sends you a bunch of stuff. Like I also got, let's see here, this will be all stuff you can probably appreciate. Absolute Batman #20, which was a limited cover right here. Nice little Absolute Batman cover. But the cooler things I thought was, first off, The Boys. If you're a Boys fan, got The Boys #1. This is homaging Superman #1, the cover to the original Superman comic, limited to $9.99. That's right. Ooh. This is less than 1,000 copies right here. And then I'm a huge Crow fan, so this was a nice treat. I had no idea this was going to be in there. It's just a print, but it's a print of the Crow, dude, and it's just, I think that's a baller print. Anyways, it's a mystery mail call box, and it's hard to get in. Sorry, it's hard to get in. He sells out every month, so I'm on the subscription service. I don't usually subscribe to things. I like to buy them month to month sometimes, but he got me to subscribe. Comic Tom 1.
Dang, yeah. Hey, if you get Matt Dye to subscribe to something, kudos. Do you know the wrestler Sting from WCW?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I figured if you would have watched TNA in the 2000s, because Sting didn't go to WWE fresh out of WCW.
Right.
And finally he decided to make the jump to TNA Impact Wrestling, and Sting had a stellar career over there. And I think that if maybe when we start getting the Patreon up and we're watching some older stuff, I'll get to show you some of the Sting stuff, because he was great in WCW, but or in TNA, I mean WCW as well. But all that to say that you probably already know, but he was based off the Crow.
Yeah. And I was funny, and that ties it into Danhausen, because Danhausen was like, I trademarked my makeup when I found out about Sting or whatever, So
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, Danhausen, he's smart, and CM Punk taught him a lot of that because they're really good friends. So, anyways, look, we're gonna jump into the meat and potatoes of the episode and talk about what we've got lined out. And the biggest of all of them, Matt, Sami Zayn is the WWE champion.
why is anybody upset about this? That
Look, dude, they're saying that this is the worst WWE champion of all time, and
wow.
I know, and I think honestly that's a horrid take because I saw even people they were like, oh, we need old man Vince back, and I was like, are we pretending Vince McMahon didn't have Jinder Mahal pin Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in 2017? Like, come on, man. Sami Zayn is a 25-year vet at this point, basically, and one of the most deserving guys on the damn roster. What are we talking about? One of the worst WWE champions of all time. No, not only does Sami Zayn deserve this, he deserves this more than a lot of the people on the damn roster. This is a guy who runs with everything he's given by the front office, especially when Vince was there. Like, let's not forget, Sami Zayn just a few years ago was doing a WrestleMania match with Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, like in a slapstick comedy match. And I don't know, man. I just can't fathom how people think this is the worst WWE champion of all time. Congratulations to Sami Zayn. Kudos to WWE for really surprising, it seems, not only me, but majority of the people that I've seen reacting to it on the internet. Because when Cody hit that double crossroads and then went to set up Sammy, I was like, damn, here we go. All right, so I guess Cody's just winning. And then, man, for Sammy to win on a roll up, like a surprise roll up out of nowhere, and to pin Cody, not even to pin Gunther. He pinned Cody for it. Kudos to WWE for surprising me. I literally like gasped and popped out loud. It was I see a lot of people calling it match of the year for WWE, and it's pretty up there, I think. I don't know if I'd put it over Mask versus Mask yet. I'll have to watch it back one more time, at least, because I've watched Mask versus Mask quite a bit. So, look, man, all that to say, really happy for Sami Zayn. I thought the match was excellent. I thought all three guys had really great chemistry with each other, and the match flowed so well. And I was just overall ecstatic with the results. I'm so happy for Sammy. I've sent you videos of him like driving around in his convertible with the championship like in the seat. There was a video of a guy like on the highway driving by Sami Zayn. Like Sammy had the top down and he's like, Sammy, show the belt. And Sammy's like holding up the belt while he's driving probably 80 miles an hour on the interstate. So, hey, look, man, as a guy who relates to Sammy just in the way of being a father, and he said like that was his biggest goal, was he wanted his kid to see him win a world championship. Happy for Sami Zayn. Couldn't be more excited for Sami Zayn. It probably won't be a long run. I'm not that naive, but I hope he gets a good few title defenses in this short run. And if he can hold it past SummerSlam, that's cool. But we'll talk about rumors that we've seen in just a minute. Matt, what did you think about Sami Zayn becoming WWE champion?
Dude, I mean, I popped, man. I popped. Like I said, I don't know if that was match of the year, but you're right. It had a great flow. It went really well. And I don't get what people are upset about, dude. Like, since I've been back, there's like 5, 6 moves maybe that are true finishers, I feel like, Like, I don't know if Cody Rhodes has a true finisher. Sure, the crossroads is nice. I've seen too many people get up from the crossroads, Same with now, like even Punk's go to sleep, the GTS. Like even that's like the borderline for me. The GTS is the borderline, finisher. For me, there's a couple. It's like Oba's fall from grace, right? When he hits that, it's over. Rhea's Riptide for the most part.
If I can jump in, I want to ask you a question as a different perspective to see what you think. Could it be that maybe we feel like the crossroads and the go to sleep, we've seen more people kick out of those because Cody and Punk and Roman aren't in those like weekly televised matches more, and so we only see them in big moments, huge matches.
No, it could be that. It could be,
and we're going to see more of those kickouts. Was with Oba, as you said, we've seen him face a lot of smaller competition, weaker competition on a weekly basis, and we've seen him put away more people with that. That I was just wondering if maybe you felt like that could make a difference in the perspective of it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong. There is the fact like it's title defenses, they're different matches, different situations, but there's been some moves like still even with Seth, right? The stomp for Seth for me feels like a definitive 9-time. Don't get me wrong. You've seen people kick out of the stomp. But 9 times out of 10, the stomp like ends it now, like And Seth has other moves that might be quasi finishers that really aren't the finisher. You got to see Seth stomp somebody if he's going to win, which means we're probably going to see Seth stomp Roman at SummerSlam and it not work. But anyways, but there's a couple, and one of them is the haluva kick, dude. Like the haluva kick has been sold as this, if you hit it, because there's been too many times I've seen Sami go for it and the guy moves and then Sami's hung up on the top, top ring, and then he gets beaten down because of it. So it's like a 50-50 hit, but if he hits it, it's like good 90% of the time. So I don't know, man. And that's just since I've been watching. Like, I don't know enough, I ain't got 10, 20 years of Sami Zayn experience. I got the last 3 years. The last 3 years, Sami Zayn has been one of the most enjoyable characters. He's been a realistic champ. He was what was it, the Intercontinental champ, or was he the Intercontinental?
Well, he held both, actually. He held the U.S. title as well.
Well, which one did he do the open call for?
The U.S. title.
The U.S. title he did.
That's a callback to when John Cena did it.
Right, but he did that. He had title defenses. He had everything, man. I mean, look. And then this storyline right here that they built in a month, basically, for me is a better storyline than the Cody Randy Orton storyline was previously. And it was all believable. Like, all of it, dude. Like, so very happy for Sami Zayn. I hope he holds it past SummerSlam. I hope, there's rumors. I guess we can talk about the rumors now. Rumors that, like, Brock Lesnar takes it at Saturday Night Main Event at Madison Square Garden, which, God, I would hate that. First, I don't want to see Sami and Brock wrestle, first of all. I have no interest in that. I just don't.
I have bad news for you. It wouldn't be much of a match.
That's what I'm saying. I've got no interest.
If we go based on, I've told you this. We've seen the whole Brock Lesnar comes in and squashes the champion for the title trope one too many times. It happened to, like, Kofi Kingston was the biggest example. Kofi went on his Kofi Mania run, pinned Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania to win the WWE Championship, had a mediocre title run, and then whenever they were ready for Brock to have a big match with the title, he got a random title match on SmackDown and squashed Kofi Kingston, and it was like a 2-minute match maybe, and then Kofi was just kind of never the same as a singles competitor after that. And so, look, I obviously hope that Brock isn't the shot the way that we're going. But what I saw lesser of on the internet that I think maybe could happen, Sunday night's main event, which they're not, because they moved it to Sunday. I don't know what's going on Saturday in Atlanta that weekend, but whatever. So Sunday night's main event is in Atlanta. And do you know who's from Atlanta, Matt? Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, yeah.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't be shocked so I already saw some spoilers for this week's SmackDown because it's pre-taped again and the spoilers have been leaking. So I won't spoil it too much of anything for anybody, but I know for a fact that Cody Rhodes is not done with the championship scene.
Of course not. I mean, he's going to, I can see him coming out right now and bitching at Sami and all sorts of things, and kind of taking the Sami Zayn role that Sami had when Cody had the championship. I can see them kind of switch, but not as whiny, maybe, more arrogant. If Sami could be arrogant,
Yeah. And so, look, I just have a hard time thinking that Cody's not going to continue to be involved in this. And what if Cody becomes like number one contender and then he says, I don't want to wait till SummerSlam. I want my rematch at Sunday night's main event in Atlanta, Georgia, where he's from. And now all of a sudden we have the title shooting right back to Cody. And maybe that's when we can finally get Sami to like just absolutely lose it. And maybe he can like even destroy Cody after Cody takes the title back. And then we get like a super evil Sami Zayn against a champion Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Maybe that's how we build that up, because that's the thing. A lot of people feel that Sami doesn't have the star power to main event one of the nights of SummerSlam.
See,
and here's the thing. Even if Sami is champion going into SummerSlam, he's not going to be one of the main events. I don't think that the WWE Championship is going to main event either of the nights. I think night one is going to be main event Oba and Brock Lesnar.
And night two is going to be Seth and Roman.
Exactly. Yeah. And so either way, this championship is not going to be in a main event slot. No. I think what's more likely to happen is, what have we talked about? If Cody's not closing, he's opening. And so I wouldn't be shocked if Cody wants to kick off the weekend, WWE wants to kick off the weekend with Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. Believe it or not, you can say this all you want. They were booing Sami because they wanted a change for him. And now we got the change for Sami, and now people are buying into what Sami Zayn is doing. And so if you want the hot, crowd to be like they're anticipated, they're ready, and they're like hot, ready to go. Boom, Cody's music hits. My God, they go crazy. Boom, Sami Zayn's music hits. And by that point, maybe he's a mega heel and super dark, and the crowd is embracing this new character that is Sami Zayn. And I wouldn't even be opposed if you hotshot the title back and forth. Cody wins it at Sunday night's main event. Maybe Sami can win it back at SummerSlam. And now you get each guy multiple title reigns, added to their resume, which I think that we're going to see more and more for Cody because look, like Seth said to Roman on TV, the four guys in the main event scene right now, Roman, Seth, Cody, and Sami, there's a lot there's a lot more time behind them in front than in front of them. There's not a lot of time left for these guys. And so I just wouldn't be shocked if we see over the next few years some padded resumes with some shorter title runs, because shorter title runs don't necessarily have to diminish the run if the storyline is booked right, if the animosity is right, if the intensity is right. You can have short title runs and it means something. And I see a lot of people saying Sami's reign is going to last 60 days. Guess what? That would still be longer than Jey Uso's reign. So that's all I'm saying. Anyways,
I mean, well, not only that, but like, how many titles does Roman have versus he held it for like 4 years or whatever,
right. Yeah.
So it's like, technically, if you chop that 4 years up, he could have won it 5 times in those 4 years, He could have 5, but he's only got 1 title, from that. And it's weird how we look at it like that. We look at Cena, the never seen 17, but I wonder total amount of time he probably hasn't held it as long as Roman did.
No, nowhere close. I don't think.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So actually, you've got me curious now. Total time as WWE champion. Let's see, because I know who is it? Is Bruno Sammartino's first? Bruno Sammartino had 4,040 total days as champion. I think Bruno had an 8-year reign or something like that. And so that was the craziest part, is like Roman got that crazy reign and it didn't even reach half of what Bruno Sammartino's run was.
Obviously it's eras,
For sure, obviously.
And also the fact it wasn't televised, I'm pretty sure every town that they went to wanted to see Bruno, versus like if it was televised, you'd be like, yeah, we saw that match last week or whatever,
right.
Like time for a new champ.
All right, so here are the longest title reigns in it's like longest single title reigns in WWE history. Bruno held his for 2,803 days. That was from May 17th of 63 to January 18th of 71.
What?
Bob Backlund held his for 2,135 days. You don't know a lot about Bob Backlund, I'd assume.
Oh, nothing, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to do some Bob Backlund. He was kind of like, he's kind of hard to explain, but
when did he wrestle?
So that's the thing about Backlund. He had 2 different eras of Bob Backlund. He was really popular in the 70s and the 80s, and then he had a random title run like 10 years later where he beat Bret Hart for the championship in the 90s.
Okay.
So Bob Backlund, he held his for 2,135 days from February of 78 to December of 83. Hulk Hogan had a 1,474-day reign from January of 84 to February of 88.
That was like my whole time of watching WWE.
There you go. Then you get Roman right behind, who is at 1,316 days from August of 20 to April of 24. And then Bruno, his other reign that, adds up to make, that's the thing. Bruno has 4,040 days between two reigns.
Right. Yeah.
And so his second reign was, 2 years after he lost the 8-year reign. It was 1,237 days from December of 73 to April of 77. So, so they went from an 8-year reign and then a few years later to a 4-year reign. And then the next year went to another 5-year reign. So there were a lot of long reigns back in the day. And so some crazy reigns, but yeah, you're right. In that span, like if Roman wouldn't have held it for 4 years or whatever, he's probably because I think right now he's a 6-time champion. I would say maybe. Yeah, because I think him and Seth are both 6-time champions. And so, Roman could be an 11 or 12-time.
That's what I'm saying, Yeah. I mean, and you got like him and Cody. Like, I mean, they're going to have to change these titles up a couple times if they want somebody to get anywhere close to Cena, because, I guess Randy's at what, 14 or something?
Because I think if he would have won at WrestleMania, that would have been 15.
15, yeah. So Randy's at 14. I wonder who's like next behind Randy, Like,
it would have been Triple H, but he's retired.
Right. Okay. Active. Yeah. Active.
So, active, man, It's not a lot of guys. Let me
That's what I'm
find
saying. Like nobody's probably even close. I mean, anybody even double digits besides Randy right now?
Brock. Brock is at 10.
Okay.
So let me see. It's John Cena at 17, Ric Flair at 16, Triple H at 14, Randy Orton at 14, Hogan. So I guess Randy is the active guy with the most.
Right.
Hogan with 12, Edge with 11, Brock Lesnar with 10, The
Is
Rock
Ed
with
still
10.
active in
In AEW? Yes, he is. Yeah, yes, he is. So, and then The Rock at 10, Sting at 10, and Vern Gagne at 10, and then nobody else is in the top 10.
Yeah, like who's the next active guy? You know, I mean, Brock, I guess, but I mean, Brock's not really that active. He's not going to win it 7 more times. You know.
Yeah, now
So,
you got me curious.
Like who's going to be the guy? Is there anybody, you know, that's going to step up anywhere close to Cena's number? My God, dude, 17 is kind of unbelievable now when you think about it. Then
All right,
I
so
didn't realize
most by active full-time wrestlers. Randy Orton with 14, Brock Lesnar with 10. We've got Roman and CM Punk with 6.
6.
Cody Rhodes has 3.
3.
And I feel like they're missing Seth too, because I think he's at 5 or 6. So
Right.
But that's also Google, and Google uses nothing but AI now. So that's just me trying to.
Yeah. But no, but that's a rough number. Regardless, 6 is the next real number. Like nobody's coming. Nobody, like you have to build somebody to get close to Cena, you know? And you have to build like an Oba or a Trick Williams or somebody, you know, one of these younger cats, you know, Javon Evans. I don't know if Javon Evans is going to be that guy. I mean, I love Javon.
Because even with Oba, he's already 28. So, 28, you would have to do, if you wanted him to beat Cena, 18 reigns, let's say he wrestles till he's 40, you would have to have him win the championship at an average of like 1.6 times a year or something like that.
Right. No,
and that would mean you have Oba losing that many times.
Yeah, Oba would have to like win every year at SummerSlam, lose every year at Backlash, or the other way around, or something,
Yeah. And so it's a, all that to say, dude, congrats to Sami Zayn on his WWE championship. I'm sure he won't hold it terribly long, but that's not always the worst case scenario, man. A lot of guys in this business never even sniffed the world title.
Hey, look, I just love this because it was unexpected. It was what I was hoping for. I picked it. You
did pick it.
Well, that was what I wanted to happen. I'm like, this is what should happen. Sami needs to win it now. Now, how long he holds on, I just hope he doesn't get squashed by Brock. I'm okay with the Cody, whatever, comeback, whatever you want to call it, rematch. I just don't want him to get squashed by Brock. That's it. All right, go on.
Yeah. All right, so, look, we're talking about Brock. We're talking about Oba. Obafemi wins King of the Ring, and he makes his choice, and he chooses to forego his title match for now, apparently. We don't know when he's going to claim it. But he challenges Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam after Brock Lesnar shows up and, attacks him. And Brock says, sure, but it's going to be in a Hell in a Cell. So we've got Brock Lesnar, we've got Obafemi to break the tie at SummerSlam in a Hell in a Cell match. Now, Matt, no title matches on the line, no careers on the line as of yet, but I have a sneaking suspicion, I think we both do, that somehow down the line, it's going to be added that Brock, this is going to be Brock's retirement match. And I don't think that there's a better way that they could have really picked for him to go out than against Oba in a Hell in a Cell match for the first Hell in a Cell match in, I think, 2 years. And I think this is, look, I wasn't expecting a Hell in a Cell. Whenever Brock says, I'm going to one-up you, I thought he was going to say, if I win, I get your title match.
That's what I thought was coming too. Yeah, I thought we were getting title shot versus retirement. Is what I thought. Yeah,
because I thought he was going to say, oh, I'm going to one-up you, because he said, I'm going to one-up you, Oba. I'm going to, I'll face you at SummerSlam, but I want your championship match if I win. And then Oba says, fine, but I'll one-up you again if I win. Your career is over. And then he drops the mic, and they just both like see that each other for a second.
I mean, they should have been in there, and then Brock could finish. And then I'll one up you one more time. Hell in a Cell, you know,
right.
Because I feel like we're going to get that within the next couple, weeks.
Yeah, we've got like 5 weeks left to build, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like we're going to get there's going to be a promo where they're going to drop that at some point, I feel like, But
maybe they do like a contract signing again, where they are like in the ring and it just gets added in somehow. I don't really know. But...
I mean, you just see Paul Heyman go, by the way, if Brock beats you, he's going to take your title shot.
Yeah, like they're just in the ring. Or
when Brock beats you, I mean.
When the Beast. Yeah.
When Brock beats you. When Brock pins you on that mat right there, Oba.
I could see them being in the ring for the contract signing, and Oba goes to sign, and he's like, "Please wait, my ruler. If you would please read the fine print." And then finally he's like, in that it states, and maybe even Pierce gets like pissed because he's like, "We didn't talk about that. We didn't talk about that." And Oba like puts his hand up, and he's like, "I'll do it." And whatever. But he says, but if whatever, he's like, "If I win, you're done." And
Yeah, but if I win, you leave your shoes in the middle of the mat for real this time.
yeah,
you know?
yeah, and I leave with them or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
whatever it may be. Yeah. So look,
You getting
am
this
I pumped?
WWE? You getting this? Like I said, you getting this?
Am I pumped for the Hell in a Cell match? Obviously so. But I feel like WWE has the chance here to put an extra exclamation on the end of it. And I just think it's going to happen. But who knows? We're probably both wrong. And so I think that Oba, I think a lot of people are misinterpreting that Oba's just like not going to go after the championship. I think he's just like saying, "Hey, I'm going to put that on the back burner for now. And when I'm done with Brock, then I want my title shot." And so I think a lot of people are just not understanding that properly, because I've seen a lot of people online pissed. They're like, "So the King of the Ring tournament meant nothing?" And it's like, no, he's still going to get a title shot, guys. He's just
Yeah, no, it's
putting,
weird. It's weird how people are upset that he's not taking it SummerSlam. Like he has to, I guess. Like anything else, it seems like Money in the Bank, you kind of get to decide. I'll admit, I guess Royal Rumble, you're supposed to do it at WrestleMania, but I'm sure somebody has like declined or moved it from WrestleMania at some point. So
yeah, there have been instances, I think, where people have won the Rumble and then they choose to get their championship match like at the next PLE. Typically, it was No Way Out, and then it was eventually Elimination Chamber. I feel like John Cena did that going into WrestleMania 24, but I might be misremembering that. But anyways, I think it has happened before. So
yeah, so I mean, look, he's not saying he doesn't want a title shot. He's saying I'm taking care of Brock first. Because let's be real here. In the real world, if he had the title shot, Brock would come screw up that match,
right, yeah.
So let's get rid of the annoyance first. So yeah, the most exciting thing about this Hell in a Cell match is that it's not going to be a 5-minute match because it's Hell in a Cell. So we're going to get like 20 minutes maybe of Brock and Oba. Dude, this could be the most brutal match, that we see all year. And we've seen some bangers so far. As you said, mask versus mask. I mean, even the Seth and the Brock match from that we just had, we've had some brutal matches so far this year. This match, dude, like, especially if it becomes a retirement match. So anyways, but the fact it's Hell in a Cell means it's not going to be some 5-6 minute match where we get 3 F5s and 2 fall from graces or whatever. You know what I mean? We're going to get, I'm just kind of curious what it's like to watch Brock Lesnar swing a kendo stick onto Obafemi, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
you're going to see an F5 into the cell or something.
Would a kendo stick with Brock swinging it once on Oba break the first hit?
That'd be cool.
Right?
They could gig it, like,
of course they could gig it. Yeah. But I mean, that sort of thing. Like he hits it across Oba's back and it just shatters, and Oba's like,
yeah, anyways. Dude, I don't know what's going to happen in that match, but I know it's going to be great, and I'm very excited for it. But hey, look, you talked about another match, another great match that just happened this past weekend, and that was the steel cage match. Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins turned into a bloody mess. Seth came out and threw the weapons in the ring before Braun could even get there. They sat in the chairs across from each other for a second. They had a little therapy session that we thought they were going to talk it out, and then they just started beating the hell out of each other. And look, man, like you said, great match, one of the better matches of the year. Again, don't know if it's match of the year for me personally, but I think it's pretty high up there, at least top 10 match of the year for WWE. And so I think that was one that I don't remember all of our picks, but I think I picked Seth for that one.
Yeah, no, I picked Braun. So yeah, no, you picked
I was
Seth
doing pretty well up into the U.S. title match, the women's U.S. title match. I was doing pretty hot, and then Tiffy won, and then Sami won, and I was like, well, there goes my perfect record. So, but yeah, dude, like I said, a bloody brawl where finally Seth, dude, the avalanche stomp off the top was excellent. I loved that. Super cool. What was it that happened off the top? Was it the superplex off the top of the cage? Yeah, man. Look, just a bunch of great spots. A really fun match. A great punctuation to a great rivalry that I think that doesn't damage Braun even a little bit. Like I think that Seth had to win this match to naturally progress on to Roman. Now knowing that the plan was for Oba and Brock to go into Hell in a Cell, so it all makes sense in hindsight. But Matt, this is your guy. He picked up a huge win over his protege. What did you think about the match?
Mark it down. This might be the last time we see Seth win for a while. This might be it. This might be the crescendo, dude. Especially, I don't know. Seth got me all worried Monday night. So we'll talk about that, I guess, as well in his promo with Roman. You know, the reality that this could be it. Seth could be hanging him up soon, dude. Like, Becky's about done, right? She said she's on her last contract or whatever. So,
well, if I can jump in, I feel like Seth probably has 5 more years, but I think that Roman is the guy that's on his way out very soon.
you think Roman's on his way out? I don't know.
Yeah, man. And look, Roman has gone through Roman has leukemia, and so he's gone through a few bouts with it since he's been an active wrestler, where he's had to step away for a while.
Right.
During COVID, he wasn't able to come, to show up on TV because they were worried about his immune system and how it might react if he got COVID. And look, Roman just got that big role in Street Fighter, and it's just a natural progression that he's probably going to go to Hollywood. And I think that I don't think that like you said, I think Seth definitely is winding down, but I think that Seth's got a few years left. I think that this might be the last time this might be your last chance. I think that was the really important part of that statement, where it's in my brain, I've already kind of assumed that Roman is winding down and probably pretty close to done. I think this is the last championship reign ever for Roman Reigns. I think
No,
this
I
is the
won't
last
argue
time
that
he
either.
ever
I
holds
won't
the
argue that either. Look, no, I think they're both winding down, but I think Seth is closer than 5 years, unfortunately. I think he's too, because just like Roman's got maybe Hollywood right now that he can go to, Seth has the whole media world, dude. He's been doing so much, like with why am I blanking? Oh, why am I blanking?
I know he does a lot of Good Morning Football during the football season.
Yeah, but there's a guy, whose show is it that he's on a lot?
Is it on ESPN?
No, it's not. It's an indie show. The dude's been doing sports forever now.
It's a sports show?
And I'm blanking now. Why am I feel so dumb. I wasn't planning to talk about it, so I didn't make the note. Anyways,
The Rich Eisen show.
Yeah, Rich Eisen. No, he's been doing Eisen for and Rich love. Look, there's gonna be a Seth Rollins show, you know. He's gonna have his own for probably 10 years, and then he'll be done, you know. But we're gonna get 10 years of Rollins probably doing media of some kind, you know, especially as long as ESPN has this WWE contract as well. He'll become like the chief WWE guy, you know, the guy who's on every show when they need somebody to talk about WWE. I'm just saying, I feel like Seth, Monday was very sobering, dude. Like, it was a sobering conversation he had with Roman. I mean, I hate that I'm getting away from this great not Hell in a Cell, but cage match with
No, that's okay.
Braun.
The natural progression is to go to Roman Seth.
Because that match, like I said, it was so good. And you even saw Braun at the end beg off, right?
Yeah.
Which was crazy. It's like the ultimate respect in some ways. Like, Braun's like, you won.
He's like, all right.
Dude, I mean, he tried to crawl out of the cell before that, you know? Seth's like, no, get back in here, finish this. So, yeah, I think Seth is going to take... The only thing I hate is that I feel like we already know the result of this match with Roman, though, right? Because Seth offered it up to Roman on a platter. This is the one thing you haven't done, is beat me when it matters. Do you think there's any way Roman doesn't win that match now? That's my only problem, which would be great cinema if Seth wins still.
Here's my thing. I think Seth is going to win.
God, man, I don't know.
I think Seth's going to win at SummerSlam. I think that, you know, for as much of Roman's character is about his ego, I don't think that Joe, the person, gives like two shits if he loses to Seth again. Like, I think that's been the whole thing, is like, Seth is who Seth is, Roman is who Roman is. And I think that there's more of a respect factor that, like, who's to say this is probably the last time they're going to fight for a championship. But I wouldn't be shocked if maybe, like, not this upcoming Mania in Saudi, but maybe the one after that or the one after that. I guess it really depends on how many years Roman has left, because I think Seth has more time than Roman. But I wouldn't be surprised if they have one more match where Roman is like on his way out and they have a match at WrestleMania finally, because they've gone one-on-one in multiple, you know, on multiple occasions,
right,
but never one-on-one at WrestleMania. And so I think that would be the most fitting. I mean, honestly, I think most fitting would be if Jon Moxley came from AEW as a one-time appearance and they had a triple threat at WrestleMania. But that's probably never going to happen. So at least
CM
not while
Punk
Roman
is
is
the referee.
Hey, do it. Let's do it. And so, look, I think that I think there's a really good chance that Seth does win this. I won't be shocked if Roman does win and finally gets his the one
I
thing
mean,
that he's been
I
looking
think they
for his whole
want Roman
career.
to hold it until WrestleMania at least, right? I mean, that's my theory is they
Yeah.
want Roman to have it till WrestleMania. But
Yeah, I mean, maybe Roman retains at SummerSlam and Oba comes out after beating Brock and says, "Hey, I am gonna cash in my championship opportunity, but I'm not gonna cash it in until WrestleMania," or something
right.
like that.
I mean,
And it
I figure we're seeing Roman and Oba at WrestleMania, or we're seeing Roman and everybody keeps saying it. Should I mention it?
for the 5th year in a row.
The Rock
Yeah,
is
man.
coming back
I
to
don't know,
your
man.
city.
At this point, I feel like maybe Saudi is more excited for Oba than they would be for Dwayne. I don't think that I don't wanna say Dwayne doesn't have the star power, but, like, in a lot of ways, it feels like he doesn't as much as he used to.
No, dude, he doesn't. I don't think
And
he
so,
does. I
eh
would I would not be excited. I would be more excited for Oba Roman than I would be, you know. I don't care.
yeah, because
There's no way The Rock's going to come and build that story enough for me to for it to matter. How's he going to show up
no,
enough for it to matter? You
he
know?
won't, and Dwayne and Roman should have happened 5 years ago,
Right. And
you
people
know?
forget how much 5 years changes things, you know?
Yeah, have you seen The Rock lately? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not one to judge, but, like, he's lost a lot of his mass, he's a lot smaller.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so, I don't know, man. I just think that, The Rock, who's in his 50s now, right? Like, I think he hit the 50 mark, who's making billions of dollars on the chair of TKO or on the board of TKO and as one of the biggest actors in the world. I don't know, man. I think maybe the time for the match has come and gone, and it's just gonna be one of those that it's gonna be Rock and or it's gonna be Rock and Shawn Michaels. It's gonna be Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero. It's gonna be Hogan, Stone Cold. It's gonna be Cena, Hulk Hogan. It's going to be one of those matches that we should have gotten that we never did. And I think it's going to be a bigger what if than us talking about it because as it happened, because I think if it actually happened now, it would probably ruin the allure of the match itself. I think it should just be left as a what if in wrestling
Yeah,
history.
I
So
guess it's just the internet community bringing out The Rock still because nobody else does. So maybe I just got to start ignoring the internet community on that. All right,
I think
all
it's
right.
everybody just wants to be right about what's going to happen. And it's easy to call The Rock and then be like, "Oh, I called it back at SummerSlam that Dwayne was going to be here against Roman. Here we are." And it's like, look, man, I gave up on that 2 years ago. I don't think it's happening. I just don't. I just don't. All right. So, yeah, we're getting Roman and Seth at SummerSlam, maybe for the last time ever. Definitely, I think, for the last time for a championship ever. But yeah, dude, that promo on Monday Night Raw, like you said, it was sobering almost in a way. It was very like, hey, Seth looking around and then he looked at Roman and he's like, let's put the Roman and Seth gloves away for a second. And let's talk Joe and Kobe. All right, let's talk about how this is going to be the last time ever, maybe, that we get to do this, across the ring from each other. And so I thought it was a beautiful promo, and it I almost want it to happen when they agreed to the match or whatever, and I guess whatever, they're not family, but they call each other brother, whatever, whatever. You know, when the tribal combat happens, and it happened with Roman and Jacob Fatu, where they touch foreheads together, and that's a mark of their culture and their heritage and their tradition. I really wanted Roman and Seth to do that, where they just like the hate for each other is obviously there. You know, you aren't you without me, and I made you who you are, whatever, whatever. And then when they agreed to the match, and Roman's like, "You're right. This is the last time that I may get to tackle that demon that is you." And then when it's all said and done, from now on, it's going to be hate towards each other. But for right now, let's show the respect. And I thought maybe we were going to get that little forehead like rest for a second, and we didn't. That's cool. I get it. Seth's not, part of the family, but I was just kind of hoping we'd see that moment. It would have gone like crazy viral, I think.
It's such a curious dynamic between the two of them, especially the way that Seth played that promo. You know, like they could have gone any direction with it, and he went in that sobering, like very adult and mature. It was such a different take than like what we've seen, with Roman and Jacob before that and whatnot, or Roman and anybody else, Roman and Punk, it was such a different attitude between the two of them that I'm really curious how they do build this going forward because it was really kind of nice, but it's going to get ugly. So, but yeah, just like, dude, like you said, and it's why Seth is my favorite dude because he does it. Oh, he does it all so well. Like, and you can see him on either side. Like I said, if he lost to Braun, you could have seen it. If he loses to Roman or beats Roman, you can see either way, and you know that Seth's gonna make it look good. God, dude, he killed that promo, man. Like that was almost like a pre-goodbye. That's why I wonder, are we going to see like Seth win again in the next year? Maybe. Are we going to see him take some losses before he goes on like some retirement tour and get some wins on that? But is this like he crested the mountain one more time? Maybe he does beat Roman. Maybe he needs to get on the mountain one last time. Maybe he does. But I see it all coming down. I hope there's more interaction with the Street Profits. I hope that, because it feels like they've now kind of gone their separate ways as we've broken up the vision as well. Maybe that's the other thing, dude. Monday night, I don't know, Paul Heyman it's like Austin Theory's the only Vision member left.
Hey, it's on the outline. We'll talk about it. It's on the outline.
All right. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just saying, but it's like, I hope that the Street Profits become part of this journey, because I really liked the Montez Ford, Seth, Andre Dawkins, like just I like that triangle of a relationship,
Well, I have a prediction. I have a prediction about the Street Profits that we'll get to when we talk about Division later.
Right.
So, but on the other side, we expected Oba to challenge Roman Reigns when he won King of the Ring, but that obviously didn't happen, so we don't know who Oba is going to be challenging. But Io Sky is Queen of the Ring. She beat Liv Morgan after Liv Morgan was cursed by Danhausen right before the match, so that was a dead giveaway on who was going to win.
Right.
And then immediately after Io wins, she takes the mic and she points at Liv and she's like, "I'm going to beat you again at SummerSlam." And so now it's made official. Io Sky, Queen of the Ring, is going to be facing Liv Morgan at SummerSlam, and it's going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship. And again, I told you earlier that the internet was pissed about Sami being WWE champion. The internet is pissed about this too. They are also mad that it feels like the internet is apparently really pissed that it feels like the Queen of the Ring and the King of the Ring tournaments didn't mean anything, because we had the champion, in the finals of the Queen of the Ring. She loses, and now the person who just beat her challenges her again. So a lot of people feel like it was pointless. And then obviously the stuff with Oba. So I guess my biggest question is, why do you think that Io picked Liv Morgan? And would you have rather her pick Rhea?
I mean, we're not going to know because Rhea's hurt, right? I mean, that's got to be the real reason.
Which we'll talk about in a minute.
But at the same time, I said once, that's why I thought Liv was going to win. Because I'm like, if Liv loses to Io, why doesn't Io just turn around and pick Liv? And that's what she did. So does Queen of the Ring matter? Look, the Queen of the Ring is the more confusing one. Like, I don't know what Liv was doing in the first place. I don't know why you put her in the finals. You should have knocked her out in the first round of 4 if you're going to put her in, and not have her get pinned so she doesn't whatever, So she lost, but it's just somebody else wins that match, But 2 things I'm curious about, and we'll see how it works out. The Danhausen thing. Look, is the curse now OP? Is it overpowered?
Feels like it.
Dude, is this not like the most, the Knicks thing is incredible, right? The whole, the way that all worked out, and the fact that Danhausen could take some weird credit for it, I mean, but the curse has got to be so OP right now. But on the last episode of Raw, we're seeing the Judgment Day kind of get Danhausen comeuppance. They're destroying his lab, everything else. I like that. I'm curious where this storyline goes, solely because right now the Judgment Day doesn't have a damn storyline, right? What are any of them doing? Like wrestling Chad Gable? I mean, what are they doing? Like JD's got nothing. Dom, who had like everything 2 months ago, I guess does he still have the AAA title? But yeah, but that's not, so he's got nothing going on really. Raquel, seemed everything that was behind her has disappeared.
Again,
right?
It's happened multiple times this year with Raquel.
And like, they even kind of commented on it. Like Raquel's like, I'm going to go do this, this, and this. I'm going to go. It's like, come on, girl, get it done then, and same with Roxanne. Like, what's Roxanne doing? So it's like, Judgment Day feels directionless right now,
Yeah, I will say we keep seeing these like little side faces that Raquel and Roxanne are making towards Liv, when Liv is like, we have to worry about how I keep my championship. We have to worry about me keeping the World Heavyweight Championship. And then Raquel will like roll her eyes and look away, or Roxanne will like take a deep puff and like look down at the ground or whatever. And it's like, they're planting seeds, but they just won't do anything about it, which has been the biggest problem for the Judgment Day in the last 3 years, is they plant all these seeds and nothing happens. And the
other problem is, like, what are they going to do? They're going to have Liv drop the title to Io at SummerSlam. And then literally, what do you got? Then you got absolutely nothing, I mean, and So I just don't know what they're doing right now with Judgment Day. I'm curious how this is going to work out with Danhausen. Been curious when this damn clone thing's going to end too with Danhausen, by the way. I mean, that's been going on for like longer than his introduction, right? When we didn't know what was in the box, right?
Yeah, the clone thing. And well, he did do the clone thing at one of the PLEs, right? Where it was just a bunch of like dwarf people, like bunch of small people.
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, he did that thing, I guess. But this latest clone or this whatever the gingerbread man he's been working on that he stole the body of.
Yeah.
That's been sitting there and people have been getting electrocuted from and whatnot. We got like Miz and Kit Wilson walking around like zombies.
Yeah. I mean, I am curious with what's going to happen with all of it, but
I mean, I just wonder when
could
this
have been fun.
I don't know when they're leading to pay it off. Like with Danhausen, it could be at any time. Like he just popped up in Curse Live. Like, what I was like, oh good, Danhausen. Look, Danhausen's on the PLE for fun. And then anyway.
Well, to be fair, she interrupted him. He was out there first.
Oh yeah, no, I know, but I didn't realize he was on the bill. You know what I mean? It's a PLE. I didn't realize we were getting.
Yeah, he's got to sell some merch, brother. He's got to sell the merch. That's what he does.
But yeah, so anyways, that's all to say that I don't know what's going on, but I'm taking EO to win, and then I'm taking EO and Rhea to have the titles maybe. And how cute would that be?
Right? Yeah, they have like a little reformation with each other of like, look at you or whatever, and they do their whole hug thing where she jumps up on Rhea and they're both holding the titles, whatever. Yeah,
and then Charlotte Flair comes and whatever.
Well,
I don't know who's going to be the first challenger. I'm guessing for me it's Charlotte, but yeah.
Let's talk about Rhea Ripley and what's up with Rhea Ripley right now. Apparently she's injured. She's been hurt for a few weeks now. There were rumors that there was going to be a title defense on Night of Champions, but her injury kind of derailed those plans. And so now I'm left wondering what's going to happen with Rhea Ripley and what's going to happen with the WWE Championship. And Matt, I wrote in our outline that I have a little bit of a theory that I kind of know what might happen. Now, this is assuming that Rhea is hurt and that Rhea will have to vacate the championship. That's the premise I'm going on here. So,
do you think, now I got a question first. Now, this is just because she got some flack for it, like 6 months ago when she was going through like some depression or something, Do you think maybe she's facing that again and they're saying she's hurt because they don't want her to get flack? I'm just wondering, I'm worried about her.
Look,
mentally.
Anything's possible, right?
As being one, like I said, being my favorite female wrestler, I say this out of concern, do you think it might be something psychological where, it's not, I don't know. I just wonder that, is being the biggest female wrestler in the world, maybe, it's different than being the biggest male wrestler, biggest female wrestler, you're getting, dudes always trying to whatever, find where you live, and who knows, like it's not like being, John Cena and probably people like, I love you, John Cena. People probably being very graphic with their DMs to Rhea, I'm sure, telling her how much they love her. You know what I'm saying? So I wonder sometimes about that, man. She's the biggest, and not only that, she's mommy. She dresses for a certain, we'll say, not on purpose, but you get what I'm saying. A certain fetish group would appreciate her.
You know certain demographic appreciates Rhea a lot more than others. I get what you're saying.
I just worry about her, man. I hope that she's, because people treat women like crap on the internet.
For sure.
And I hope that it's not anything. I hope it's really an injury. I hope she's really hurt, but right. I mean, I don't hope she's hurt, but
hope
you get what I'm saying.
Hope it's not up here and it's something she can physically recover from.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And look, I mean, without knowing Rhea Ripley, obviously it's hard to say, and anything is possible, especially with someone who has faced mental health issues in the past.
And like I said, none of them got crap for it. Usually we applaud people. We're like, but she got crap for it, which was weird, dude.
Yeah, well, and then also earlier this year, she kind of revealed that she's suffering from an eating disorder, which is why she looks a lot slimmer than she did before. And so, look, it could be a number of things, but I'm going to go off the premise that she's had that knee brace on for a few weeks, and I'm going to assume that there's some sort of knee injury, just without any prior knowledge of what's actually going on in her personal life. But so assuming that there's a knee injury and assuming that she has to vacate the championship, I think that WWE has very obviously set up the match that's going to be in place for SummerSlam if that is the case. And I think it's very obviously Jade Cargill and Charlotte
Flair. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with Jade and her group attacking Charlotte before Charlotte's Queen of the Ring match against Liv Morgan, and now Jade losing to Tiffy at Night of Champions and not taking that championship away, because I honestly thought that we were going to get Jade and Charlotte for the US title.
Right.
But now with that not being the case, I have a hard time seeing Jade and Charlotte one-on-one with no championship on the line. So I could see something where Jade has a qualifying match and Charlotte also has a qualifying match. And you don't have to do like a big tournament. It's just, hey, two number one contenders matches. Whoever wins these, gets to go on. And maybe it's Jade versus Chelsea Green and Alexa. So that way you have the Charlotte connection and the Tiffy connection to Jade. And then you could do Charlotte versus Michin and BFAB or something like that.
Right.
So now everybody's interconnected, right? Or maybe you even throw Tiffy into the other side with Charlotte. I don't know how you do it, but I think that in some way these two should become the number one contenders for the vacated WWE Women's Championship and go on to face each other at SummerSlam for it. And I think that with Jade not winning that US title, I think that's where we're headed now. Now, again, this is with the assumption that Rhea is going to vacate the championship. If Rhea is not vacating the championship, I mean, it's got to be Jade or Charlotte, and I would assume that we would do Charlotte, but I also don't know why you wouldn't just have Charlotte win the Queen of the Ring then, or at least make it to the finals, And so I
I think this way leaves the option open for what you mentioned. Depending how hurt Rhea is, because Io is a surefire attraction. And you can do, and as much as people are going to be upset, we already saw Io and Liv, we're going to see a completely different Io and Liv match. You better believe this one's going to be a lot more brutal than the Queen of the Ring final was. I don't think Liv wants to lose her title by any means necessary, So I think
she won't be cursed this time either.
Right. Well, she will be. She's still cursed. She hasn't been uncursed. So.
Well, I was about to say, I wonder if losing the title is the uncursing, but I guess not.
No. So she's still cursed. She's still technically. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be, does Rhea healthy enough? Because really you got to ask yourself then, who do you got winning the Charlotte Jade match? Because that is either who is facing Rhea at SummerSlam or they're wrestling each other at SummerSlam. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's either they're going to be in a match against each other for the number one contendership against Rhea, or they're going to become the number one contenders.
Right.
To face
so
off for that
who do you
title.
have winning that match then? Who do you got winning it?
I think either way it's going to be Charlotte. I think that Charlotte is.
You think Charlotte goes on to beat Rhea?
I feel like, yeah, especially if she's dealing with some nagging injuries, but she's able to compete. That would be a good way to get the title off of her, let her actually be off of TV for a few months and rehab a little bit and heal up those nagging injuries. If she is having some mental health challenges right now, give her a little time to stay at home with her husband and just kind of, be away from the business for a while and out of the spotlight a little more. So yeah, I think that the natural progression feels like Charlotte, and if we're doing that, then I feel like eventually we have to get Charlotte and Alexa at some point. I don't know if you could push that all the way to WrestleMania. I don't know how you maintain that long, but I feel like that is the natural progression: is Charlotte as the new champion, and then eventually against Alexa. So yeah, I feel like if it's number one contendership against Jade, or if they're going at each other for the vacant title, I feel like either way it's got to be Charlotte.
All right, I'm with you.
Okay, cool. All right, so jumping from SmackDown and the Women's Championship, we're going to go in a totally different direction. Austin Theory of the Vision gets the cold shoulder from Paul Heyman this week. And look, he lost the tag titles last week with Braun Breaker against the Street Profits. Braun was off of TV this week, after the steel cage match, after that bloody match where Braun was just gushing. I don't know if you saw the main event or any of the scenes from the main event of Forbidden Door for AEW's pay-per-view this past weekend, but Swerve Strickland and God, now I'm forgetting his name, Will Ospreay, they had a gusher, dude. They were both busted open so bad. It had to be put in black and white for a lot of replays because it was so much blood. So anyways, talking about the Vision, Austin Theory gets the cold shoulder from Paul Heyman, loses the titles with Braun Breaker last week. They apparently have a rematch for those titles next week, but I have a feeling this is not going to go Austin Theory's way. I feel like the Street Profits are going to retain, and Austin Theory is probably going to try to apologize to Braun. I feel like Austin Theory's time with the Vision and with Paul Heyman is probably coming to a very abrupt end next week.
I think the Vision's about done, dude.
I think so too.
I think, look, Logan Paul's still hurt. We have no idea what's up with Bronson Reed. He's close. We've seen pictures, dude. That dude looks ripped. I didn't know Bronson
he looks
Reed.
like he lost like a good 30 to 40 pounds and
like
just
a person. He looks like he lost a person. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that after this match, again, I said in our last pod that I thought that Braun Breaker and WWE did a really good job of not making this tag title feel like a secondary thought, but I feel like Braun's got bigger aspirations
Dude,
than the
I
tag
I
titles.
wouldn't be surprised if Braun doesn't show up.
Well, I think he's gonna show up, but I think that maybe Austin Theory takes the pin from the Street Profits, and then after the fact, he probably tries to voice his frustrations. I think Braun Breaker's just gonna spear the shit out of Austin Theory. I think he's
I
just gonna break him in half.
I don't think Austin Theory even deserves that. I think Braun just doesn't show up for the match. Like they're supposed to have a tag match, and Austin Theory can't find a partner because Braun didn't show up. Paul's
Maybe,
not there.
but
And
you don't feel like that devalues the importance of the tag titles just a little bit if he
I think
doesn't
it
show
no, I
up?
think I don't know, man. Like I don't know what they're doing with Austin Theory. Then they had that spot with him on Raw with him and Maxine, and that felt like it was just going nowhere, you know?
Well, and also I feel like I don't know what's going on with Maxine and
That's what I'm
Austin
saying. If
Theory
like, they're
now,
about to
but I
write both
feel
of them
like
off the show.
I feel like there was gonna be a week of her eventually joining the Vision before Logan Paul got hurt, and now no Logan Paul on TV this week after we had him last week, and maybe that's just because of a travel arrangement, and he can't travel like long distance on planes with the torn tricep or something. I don't really know, but yeah, I think that the Vision and especially Austin Theory's association with Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker and all the rest of those guys, I think it's pretty close to done, and I think that they're gonna lose. Street Profits are gonna retain. And Austin Theory is just gonna eat a mean spear from Braun Breaker,
I mean, dude,
and I think that'll be the end of it.
everybody in the Vision has been hurt but Austin Theory. Even technically Paul Heyman, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Though I guess all of his were probably story driven. But yeah, Seth, Braun, Bronson, and Logan. All of them with legit injuries, man, dude. Like, yeah, the Vision is done. I wouldn't be like, I don't know. I feel bad for Austin Theory because I think like they had ideas for him, but he's just there's not enough to him to what do
No,
you do
you're
with
right.
Austin Theory, man?
It's the injuries around him that has shaped this run for Austin Theory, and it's not really fair for him. Like
It's not, but I just don't know.
he was
But
probably
he's the
gonna be
least
Seth.
interesting character on the Vision, right? Like
Well,
even
for sure, but I feel like he was originally supposed to probably be Seth's like spy within the
right,
Vision, and
right.
that would have amplified his interest like times a million. He didn't get that because Seth got hurt and went down, and then Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Braun Breaker, like you said, all had time on the shelf. I think it's just time to. I think he doesn't feel interesting because the Vision doesn't feel interesting.
No, that's fair. I mean, has he ever been interesting?
I mean, here's the thing. I feel like Austin Theory has been given a rough go in terms of his storylines. Like he had a storyline where he was like Vince McMahon's guy. And so he just walked around taking selfies and was like with Vince McMahon on TV all the damn time. And it made him super unlikable and not in a good heel way, in a like a get this shit off of my screen type of way.
Right.
And now you have him with the Vision, and it was interesting. He was tag champion. And I feel like even a few weeks ago when they were tag champions, people were still vested and interested in what was going on with him, but now everything's crumbling around him, and they're like, "Well,
And dude,
so what is now? He's just a Paul Heyman guy instead of just in the Vision."
and it felt like he got squashed on Raw against Joe Hendry. I don't know how long that match actually lasted, but it felt like a squash match. You know, like Joe Hendry squashed you, dude. Like now that Joe Henry's some pushover or anything, but still,
He is a former world champion.
yeah, like I said, now that Joe Henry's a pushover, but you got squashed by a dude who's
For sure.
not Obafemi size, you know.
But
So,
I think that obviously we've seen Austin Theory eat a lot of pins since he's joined the Vision because we kind of knew he would be the guy to eat a lot of those pins.
right.
But I also feel like more importantly than like him getting squashed by Joe Hendry, I think that just showed like the importance of Paul Heyman. Like now he doesn't have Paul Heyman with him. He doesn't have Braun Breaker. He's got none of his group with him. And he's just like he's got no support. He's all out of sorts. And
Dude,
so
that Paul Heyman bit was the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those because it felt real at the same time. Like I wonder, like in reality, if Paul Heyman's like, "Yeah, kid, we're not doing your storyline anymore. We're moving on,"
Well,
and that's
you can
the
see I'm a little
fictionalized
busy
version.
here. Okay, I'm a little busy. Yeah, and
So
so
what?
yeah, I definitely think that his time with the Vision and Paul Heyman is done. But I will also say that are you done moving your mic?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm just joking with you.
I'll mute it next time. My bad.
It's okay. It's okay. Everybody
I-
shame Matt in the comments.
I
Shame.
had to lean back a little bit. My back was starting to hurt.
No,
from
dude,
sitting
I
up.
totally get it. My back
Yeah.
is killing me as well. But no, so I actually think that I talked about this earlier. I was going to bring them up again later, but I think that the Street Profits, new tag team champions, you said that you hope that they are involved in the Seth Roman storyline somehow. I have a sneaking suspicion that Roman is going to tell his cousins to go after those tag titles again. And we're gonna get Street
So
Profits and Usos. Yeah. I think Street Profits retain. I think they win that rivalry as a whole. But I think that Jay is gonna end up not being the number one contender over on SmackDown. I think that Jimmy is gonna keep losing to the or well, I'll talk about Jimmy and Jay in a second because I have a theory on where that's going. But I think that through the storyline happenings of it all is the Usos are eventually going to be going after the Street Profits for those tag titles and maybe at SummerSlam. So for you, you were saying earlier, you hope that the Street Profits are involved in the Seth and Roman storyline. I think they will be in a way. I think that it's going to be, Seth maybe one-on-one with Roman at one point, and then the Usos try to get involved and the Street Profits come in and make the save in some way. So I think Street Profits are involved in this with the Usos. So I think you're going to get your wish. I was bringing that back around to tell you that.
dude, it's so crazy, man. Like I thought it was gonna be LA and Fatu, not LA and Solo against the Usos, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, my fantasy booking, I had the Punisher and Lobo against the Usos. I don't know. I'm trying to imagine who Solo is. Solo's more like a hammerhead. And if he's hammerhead, or maybe he's more like Tombstone. And if he's a mafia guy that I can't see the Punisher ever working with him. Maybe he worked. I wonder if the Punisher's ever worked with Tombstone before, or they've always been at ends. But
Well,
that's why I can't trust him. That's what it is, dude. Fatu's Tombstone. There we go. All right, book it. All right, I'm done.
all right. So with that being said, let's move on to the next point in the outline because I really wanted to talk to you about this. Solo Sikoa attacks Jimmy Uso again. This time, Jimmy Uso got the win over LA Knight, but Jay was there to help make the save after LA tried to attack Jimmy, and Solo shows up, hits the Samoan spike on Jimmy again. Look, dude, like you just said, it really looks like we're getting Solo and LA Knight versus the Usos, and I think it may be at Sunday night's main event in Atlanta. I don't think it's going to be like a SummerSlam thing. I think that's going to happen, and then I think that will segue into the Usos versus Street Profits. I don't know exactly where we go with LA Knight. I don't know exactly where we go with Solo for SummerSlam, but I think that for the time being, yeah, I think we're getting LA Knight and Solo Sikoa randomly making a tag team out of necessity to take down the Usos. And maybe Solo is going to turn and join the bloodline. I doubt it. I really hope not. I don't want to see that. I want to see Solo be his own guy. I want to see Solo be Solo. I want to see him have a run over on SmackDown, or even if he comes over to Raw, whatever. But I do think, yeah, we're getting Solo and LA Knight versus the Usos. So I agree with you. I think your booking was really close. But I think that Jacob Fatu has another role. I talked to you about, is there any way that you asked, is there any way that Seth Rollins can beat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? I think Jacob Fatu is the outlier here, where everybody in the bloodline has a role, and I think that we're going to see Jacob Fatu go into SummerSlam just in the corner of Roman Reigns. I think he's not going to have a match or anything, and maybe Jacob Fatu is the guy that, in a way, and somehow costs Roman that World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam against Seth Rollins. Not because he wants to help Seth, but you said a few weeks ago that you feel like Jacob's got something brewing in the back of his brain. He's got some plan that he's working on. And maybe when Roman thinks that maybe he's out of desperation. He's like, the ref is down and he's like, Jacob, get me a chair. And Jacob grabs the chair and he's staring at the crowd and he doesn't know what to do. He gets on the apron. Roman puts his hand out for the chair and Jacob just maybe hits him with it or something. Or maybe Roman tells Jacob to hit Seth with the chair. And instead, Jacob whacks Roman with the chair, gets him down on one knee. Seth hits the stomp and Jacob Fatu just kind of stands there and watches as the ref counts to 3 and Seth takes the belt over Roman. So like Roman didn't get his comeuppance, but Seth also didn't beat him clean. And so then it gives Seth also this weird altered mind of like, I got my championship back that I never lost, but I kind of don't deserve it because Jacob helped me win it. And then maybe that even leads to Roman being off the TV for a few months. And now we can get Jacob and Seth maybe in a few matches, whereas Seth is pissed at Jacob. He's like, cool, I have the championship, but like, I didn't need your help. And so I don't know. I don't know exactly where we see all of it going, but I do think that there's a really good chance that Jacob Fatu could cost Roman at SummerSlam. And I think there's also an even higher chance that we get the Usos and the Street Profits for those tag titles at SummerSlam. So I think maybe you're looking at a post SummerSlam where Seth and the Street Profits come out to celebrate on Monday Night Raw, all dripped out in gold. I don't know. We could see that scene.
All right. Look, I don't hate any of that. I don't want Fatu to be. I want Fatu to be involved. I want to pull like a Finn Balor, where like Roman goes and asks him to get a chair and he just stands there and doesn't move. you know?
He could do
Like,
that.
I'd rather that happen. And Roman's like, "Go get a chair," you know? And he's like, and they're arguing, and that's enough of a distraction that Fatu's not listening, maybe. I don't want Fatu to slam him with a chair. I don't want Fatu to screw. I want Fatu to be like, "You gotta take care of your own business. You know, this is your business, you know? You and Seth, I got nothing to do with that." You know, I would like for him and Seth maybe, like you said, come to some sort of agreement maybe beforehand where Seth's like, "Hey man, Jacob, you and I, we've always been good, man. You know, like just stay out of this. Let me and
Well,
Roman
I
handle it."
I tell you what, now that you're talking about it, I could see Jacob in more of like a preventative bodyguard role where maybe the Usos try to like involve themselves too much in this match and Seth starts saying like, so you've always needed your cousins to win. You've never every time you retain a championship, your cousins are helping you. And so maybe Roman tells the Usos like, hey, don't get involved in the match. And they keep like insisting. And finally he turns to Jacob and he's like, you know what? You get to make sure that the Usos don't interfere in my match. And that adds even more tension to the Usos and Jacob Fatu because now not only is Jacob Fatu the right hand man, not only is he getting, calls to do things that the Usos don't even know about, but now Roman is saying, I don't trust you guys so much that I will sick him on you if you do it. And so I could see something like that. Either way, I think that something's got to give between Jacob and Roman at SummerSlam. Something's
Okay.
got to happen to further it.
I didn't know, I feel like something's gonna give first between Jacob and Jay, or something, you
Well,
know?
you asked me a few weeks ago. I think it would have been Jacob and Jay, but maybe after the fact, after the blow up of Roman losing his championship, maybe that's when we finally start to see them butt heads and them actually face off against
Yeah, I
each
can
other.
see Roman keeping them apart, and then finally afterwards when Jacob screws it up, Roman's like, "All right, Jay, go get him."
Well, it
You
could
know?
even be that I think Roman just has gone off of TV and for a few weeks or a few months, and then in the aftermath of it, maybe the Usos come out on Raw, and Jay's just pissed, and he calls Jacob out, and then they have a face to face and are going off on each other about it all, and then I don't know, maybe it leads to a one on one match. But you asked me a few weeks ago, I think it would have been Jacob and Jay. Now with the evolution of everything, and with the Vision looking like they're breaking up, and I'm looking at the rest of the tag team scene across Monday Night Raw and the Street Profits also being involved in Seth and
And then
Roman and
and
the
then you look at, like,
Usos.
the tag team scene in general feels like it's evolving because we talked about the fact that Damian Priest could be going to AAA, and that could be the end of the Damian Priest R-Truth tag team on SmackDown. So it's like
Yeah.
all the tag teams right now could be in major flux for all we know.
Yeah, it's the tag team scene is in a weird stage right now, and one thing that WWE loves to do when in doubt, when in desperation for the tag team scene, they throw the Street Profits and the Usos in there. So it used to be the New Day and the Usos, and now Street Profits have kind of taken over one of those roles. All right, jumping into our last topic that we'll very quickly address because we've been talking about it and it's been very entertaining TV. Tiffany Stratton, she retained her U.S. championship with some help from Chelsea Green. And look, man, we love Chelsea Green around here. Big Chelsea Green fans.
I
I
keep
I
wanting to call
think
her a national treasure, but she's Canadian, you
she's an
know?
international treasure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
international treasure then, I
yeah.
guess, yes.
And so, look, I think that we're getting really close to seeing a tag team championship reign for these two. I think that even if they don't win the titles, maybe they get a shot at the titles. And if they come up short in that, maybe Tiffany finally like snaps on Chelsea and like just lays her out and says like, "I'm tired of you following me around and whatever, whatever." And look, either way, I think we could see them running with the tag titles for a little bit. And now Tiffy is a double champion because WWE loves to do that. They love to make double champions with those tag titles, and so we could get a run with those two, and then finally, when that run is over, maybe then we finally get Chelsea versus Tiffy for that U.S. title again. And they don't even have to have a long run; they can have a run for like 4 to 6 weeks, and then they drop the title, and then a PLE later in the year they have a title match against each other. Now, also want to shout out to Tiffy and Jade Cargill because Night of Champions in Saudi, a show in a country that we weren't seeing women's wrestlers on for a very long time, and we still have to see them covered up and everything. This was the first time in WWE history that the women's U.S. title was defended on a PLE, and it was in Saudi Arabia. So it was a pretty cool moment for both of them. You heard Tiffy saying whenever she won that she had just made history because not only was it the first time it was defended, she was the first person to ever successfully defend that championship on a PLE. So
Okay,
her
okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
her and Jade made some history on Saturday night, or on Saturday for us. after that championship match. But Matt, like I said, we really love Chelsea around here, and I don't want to say we're definitely not Tiffy haters. I don't think we're the biggest fans of her, but we like Tiffy around here as well. And I think that these two women, I mean, I feel like Chelsea Green just has chemistry, great chemistry with everybody, but these two women have had some really fun and good chemistry with each other. And what do you think about maybe a Tiffy Time and Chelsea Green tag team run?
I don't know about the tag team thing, just because I feel like the women's. Well, I guess I don't know how packed the women's tag is right now. Is it feels like it's kind of deflating as well. Maybe we're losing the not friends, and Alexa and Charlotte. I don't know
Yeah.
if they're tagging or if they're kind of going at, or Charlotte's going after solo gold, and so yeah, maybe it needs a little. I'll tell you what though, as you said, we love Chelsea Green, dude. Everything Chelsea Green does is just fantastic, dude. It's so much fun. And I was a little worried because we lost, you know, we lost. Why am I blanking? Ivy Nile, not Ivy Nile. We lost Piper Niven, and we
Yeah.
lost
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. Thank you. We lost the Secret Harvest. And I was like, what are they going to do with Chelsea? I don't know. Is Piper still in contract? Is it just hurt, or did they get
Yeah,
rid of?
she had life-threatening neck surgery.
I knew she had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe in the rounds of being like I was surprised they let go of Alba Fire. I liked Alba Fire, but I thought maybe like without Piper, you don't know what you're doing, with the secret. Anyways, that's all to say that I know what they're gonna do with Chelsea and inserting her into the story, like forcing her way into the storyline. I love it. I love it, dude. Like Tiffy wanted nothing to do with her. And also, yeah, I didn't like the old version of Tiffy. I still feel like we need to lose Tiffy time. I feel like, I feel like she's grown up. I like this more mature, I feel like, version of Tiffany Stratton that we've seen come back since the injury, you know? Because I felt like she was I couldn't take her seriously. I couldn't believe that she actually beat the people she beat, I couldn't believe she had the title, for a minute, but now this new Tiffy, I completely buy. So
Well, and the cool thing about Tiffy is I think we're really close to a heel turn for her. And Tiffy's a good heel, and I think that maybe this would be a good opportunity for them to maybe show a new side of heel Tiffy, because I think that at the end of all this, Chelsea Green is going to be the friend that is turned on by Chelsea or by Tiffy. Tiffy is going to turn on Chelsea Green at some point. And so I think that when that happens, the crowd is going to be so vehemently against Tiffany Stratton for that I think it's going to be really easy for her to adopt that super heel persona again, but maybe this time with a little bit of I don't want to say more serious twist, but I see where you're coming from, and I see what
dude,
you're
I
saying.
want to see Tiffy go on a Thanos quest.
Okay.
I want to
Explain.
see go on like a collection thing. I want to collect not all the titles, but I want to, like, what title has she not held yet? There's got to be one or two. Like has she
They're
had
on
tag
Raw, so
titles?
she would have to jump to Raw. I
But,
think she let me see. I don't think she has.
I don't think she's had tag, right? So,
Let me see. Has Tiffany Stratton been a tag champ? No, she hasn't.
yeah. So I can see her wanting to collect all the titles. She's already had two of them. She's got the US and the
And the WWE Championship.
WWE Championship. Now she'll go get the tag with Chelsea, and Chelsea will be with her like one of her, followers. And then they'll both switch to Raw or something, And I just want to see her Thanos quested, dude. She seems like somebody who'd want to collect rings, She just seems like that, like, maybe that's also I can see, maybe I don't know much about her. We just seen the promos with, but that feels like it also be like a what's her name, Blake Morgan or Monroe?
Blake Monroe.
Yeah, feels like a Blake Monroe thing as well. Like I can see Blake Monroe coming and be like, I'm gonna collect the titles. I want some woman to go on a Thanos quest thing, and Tiffy feels like one who could, especially with a Chelsea Green in her toe. So yeah.
Well,
That's
and Blake Monroe has been, talking about all these, pillars of the women's wrestling.
right. She's what I'm talking about, going after everybody.
Yeah,
Basically.
so she could be the one that's like not really like the career killer like Gunther, but she's like, all right, my next target off my list. Maybe she has like a burn book, like a Mean Girls thing, where she has like a list of every woman that she wants to like tick off or whatever. And I mean, you would have to like have her win those. So it would, because if she's just doing that and losing, it's kind of pointless to do that. So you would have to start with some of the like quote unquote smaller names. But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed. Look, there's a term in in wrestling we call them belt collectors,
Mm.
where guys or gals, like the most recent person to do it was Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. In WWE, she went and won like 12 championships, and she just had all of them and had the huge pictures. Kenny Omega did it, Samoa Joe did it. So we've seen the belt collector thing before, and I wouldn't be opposed to seeing something similar where it's like Blake Monroe wants to, like, instead of the belt collector, she's like, maybe we even see something crazy where she like takes a snip of hair from every woman that she beats or something. Because like you can easily, like, a lot of the women wear extensions anyways, and so you can
Right,
easily
right.
do that. And so she starts like collecting a snip of every woman's hair that she's beaten or something like that. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, I really think that we could see Tiffy and Chelsea being a tag champ, which would play into your whole like, Tiffy just wants to win as many championships as she can. So, and with them being tag champs, they can jump between any brand they want. And so
Right. No,
then you can move
that's
her
how
over to Raw pretty
on
easily.
Raw somehow, and you can see like her and Io going at it on Raw.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a great, championship match. Who's got the women's intercontinental right now? It's that's Sol Ruka.
Yeah. Sol Ruka. Yeah. Her and Sol Ruka,
That'd
man.
be
That
another
would
great
be
match.
boom.
Yeah. So I mean,
Because
I feel
Soul
like
Soul eventually has to drop it to
yeah, no, it
somebody.
ain't gonna be
And
soon, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, Soul. So anyway, I just see Tiffy strikes me. I like this more mature, maybe darker, like you said, maybe going heel turn, but I just want to see Tiffy on a Thanos quest. I feel like she would be the perfect one right now to go on a Thanos quest. So
all right. So that's going to be it for our outline that we had. But I'm reading into some rumors and reports that we don't have to really talk too much about. I just want to let you know what is in the rumor mill going around right now. It looks like Ilya Dragunov is going to be back sooner rather than later. So big thumbs up. He's going to be a
they don't
nice
know what they're
injection
doing
into the
with
mid
him
card.
though. I mean, what are they doing with? They don't know what to do with him.
Put him in the mid card, man. And you know what? If he's going to be back sooner rather than later, if we're going to get something between Gunther and Nick Aldis, because Nick Aldis is off of TV for now. They said last night
Yeah,
on
he's
Monday Night Raw.
suspended or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Adam Pearce is going to be running both brands. So we've been really anxious for a Ilya Dragunov and Gunther match on the main event or on the main roster. If Nick Aldis isn't going to be an active wrestler like some people, including me, think he might, then he could have somebody represent him, and it could be a returning Ilya Dragunov, and maybe we get Ilya and Gunther at SummerSlam or something like that. So that could be cool. Let me see. According to the Wrestling Observer, the reason that the Maxine Dupree push never went anywhere is because she wasn't getting strong enough reactions on her matches.
Yeah, no, because nobody. I'm sorry, I'm not interested. All right, go on.
Yeah, and then let me see. Dave Meltzer mentioned on X that he thinks WWE believes this is a crucial time for AEW, and that's why they're willing to do bad ratings for shows like the Great American Bash just to counter program them to kill the promotion, which doesn't surprise me. And then this one you won't know too much about, Matt, but Mike Santana, who was the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, they had a big event this past weekend, and he lost his World Heavyweight Champion or his World Championship. He is believed to be making the jump to WWE very soon, so we'll probably see Mike Santana in a WWE ring very soon.
Mike Santana. Okay, so is he like a luchador with the last name Santana, or is he
No,
just
no, he was formerly known. He was a formerly. Let me see. What was he? A
is he a
part of
guitar
LAX?
rocker like Santana? Is that what is he got a guitar?
No, no,
Is he
no.
gonna come and try to take Joe Henry's
He
place as my
is
singer
he is a
songwriter?
Hispanic wrestler, but he's not a luchador.
Okay.
Let me see. Was he in LAX? Yeah, he was. So there was this group called Latin American Exchange, abbreviated to LAX, in TNA back in the like the 2000s. They were like a huge group, and then he was also a part of yeah, it was just LA. Oh, and the Inner Circle, he was in AEW. But yeah, so Mike Santana, he's a 20-year vet probably, but has never really done anything in WWE. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes to NXT first. But yeah, former TNA heavyweight champion, just recently won it a few months ago, dropped it to formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, now Nick Namath, going by his real name in TNA. So Nick Namath is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. So yeah, looks like Santana may be coming to WWE, but that's going to do it for the rumor mill roundup, and that's actually going to do it for our episode, Matt. So do you have anything else you want to throw in before we get out of here? Maybe that I didn't address?
I mean, look, if you haven't seen Masters of the Universe and it's still out at your theaters, go see it. Supergirl also better than advertised.
Okay.
I hate movies getting review bombed, dude. Like yet again, we're talking about women getting hate on the internet. Millie Alcock has gotten all sorts of. They made fun of her appearance, all this stuff. Like, dude, leave women alone, you freaks, man. Like the movie's pretty decent. Like all movies, it's got that third act final battle, like
Of course.
problem. I feel like all Marvel, every comic book movie, I feel like almost some of them hit it, like The Captain America ones are usually pretty grounded, you know. But anyways, I'm just saying. Otherwise, dude, it's funny. Millie Alcock is good. It's a pretty decent adaptation of Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. If you haven't read that Tom King graphic novel, which is also a good read. But yeah, man. I mean, look, like I said, good movies are out there. Go check out some movies that are getting hate for no reason, which is Masters of the Universe and Supergirl. So
Yeah, well, and my wife and I were just recently talking. She was like, "So, hey, I know you are going to see the Spider-Man movie next month, or now this month. If you can find out which movies we need to watch, I'll watch all the Marvel movies with you." And I was like, I just kind of looked at her. I said, "That's a pretty big undertaking." And she
yeah,
was
I
like,
don't
"I
even
mean,
know where I'd start for Spider-Man.
she was like, "I mean, we did it before." And I was like, "Yeah, we watched all of them before Endgame. That was a long time ago. There's a
no,
lot there's a lot more series now. There's more
there are
movies."
series, I guess, but you don't need all the series for the Spider-Man movie. Now,
But that's my thing. If I'm getting ready for Doomsday
now
later
she's going
this
for
year,
Doomsday. Yeah, no, Doomsday,
right.
she probably gonna have to watch some series. Yeah.
Well, that's what I told her. I said for from what I found on the internet for the Spider-Man movies, most people are saying just watch the OG Tom Holland movies and then watch Infinity War Endgame, and that'll probably get you pretty close to where you
I
need to
mean,
be.
look, yeah, you mostly have to watch the Tom Holland movies. I think that's the main
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and
You
so
know,
that's what we kind of agreed on. We'll probably just watch the Tom Holland movies and then, be ready for that. But getting ready for Doomsday, I personally am going to start watching all the movies and series from beginning, like in chronological order in terms of the timeline. So I've done it once before. I'm going to do it again. And
man.
hopefully my goal is to every movie and every series that I watch, I want to start doing like reviews of them. So hopefully I'll start doing that as well. Maybe we can throw that up on Impossible Octopus if Matt wants to throw it up on his channel for some content. But yeah, I would love to do some like my first time watching Endgame in 6 years or whatever it is, or my first time watching the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies since I was a kid. And because I watched, hey, look, there's that saying, and I know you know it. Was it great or were you eight? Because I watched the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3 movie and that movie sucks.
Oh, no,
I
Spider-Man
love it because it's
is.
a cult classic, but that movie sucked. Now, Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, maybe one of the greatest movies ever made. It was very good. But yeah, so I want to go back and watch all of them, including the new series. I'm almost done with season 2 of Invincible.
Oh, there we
So
go. There we
yeah,
go.
so I'm getting into Invincible now. They just had a character death out of nowhere that I was like, what the hell, man? And so
Robert
but
Kirkman is
I was
not
about to say,
scared
but
of.
it's Robert Kirkman. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not scared of killing people. Think about The Walking Dead. As soon as you
I
like
know,
somebody
I
on The
know.
Walking Dead, they're dead in 5 issues. You know.
Dude, and that's the thing. I actually started watching The Walking Dead again earlier this year because, look, spoiler alert, but I guess if you haven't seen this point of The Walking Dead or read it at this point, that's kind of on you. But whenever we first were watching The Walking Dead, as with most of the fan base, I kind of fell off a little after Negan showed up. And so this time around, I watched it, and the exact same thing happened. I fell off
Oh,
again
dude,
not
no,
long
the
after
whole
Negan showed up.
even the comic book kind of died after issue 100, which is the death by
Yeah,
Negan. You know, like
right.
that to me, like there are a few jaw dropping moments in comics, and at that point, I'd read. And there and you should read the comics because the comics are different. The leaving of the jail is one of the most tragic scenes in all of comics. But even as tragic as that was, when you get to issue 100 and Negan goes eeny meeny miny mo, and in the show who does he kill in the show? He kills.
Okay, look, spoiler
Sorry,
alerts again.
spoiler.
Spoiler alerts
Spoiler.
again. But look,
Spoiler for
so
a show that's like 10, 20 years old now at this point.
I know, but hey, look, some people get pissed at spoiling the Star Wars movies,
Oh
and
my
hey,
God,
man, at
yeah.
this point, anyways, so yeah, spoiler alert. If you've been here this whole time, like, subscribe, all that, but go away now. So if so, yeah, he kills Abraham, and
That's it.
then he kills Glenn.
He
Yeah.
kills Abraham first. In the comics, he doesn't kill Abraham.
Right, because Abraham's like a different character in the comics.
Well, no,
right?
he's the same character. No, it's the same guy. Abraham's one of the
Well,
most.
different trajectory. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
right?
Glenn. No, I mean afterwards because he lives. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but
True.
Abraham's was one of the most on point castings they had in the entire show. Him and Glenn, like both of them were pretty on point for what the characters were in the comics. Like some of them, I mean, Michonne was pretty on point.
Okay.
But anyways, dude, when all he does is kill Glenn, and at that point, dude, I mean, I guess it's probably the same in the show. But the fact he kills Abraham first, I feel like doesn't make Glenn's death hit as hard, you know? Like, cause
Well, and see, that was the thing is I think a lot of people would disagree with you because everybody thought it was over. Everybody thought it was done when he killed Abraham, and we
right.
were like, okay, that sucks, man. We hate to see Abraham go, but at least he's done. At least these people didn't get killed. And then Daryl, I remember because I
It was
remember
also
that
like a season ender, right? Where you had to wait the whole season to find out who he killed. Was that right? Something
I
like
can't
that?
remember exactly how it happened, but they did leave that episode on a cliffhanger on who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the
It was
last person or who
yeah.
they picked.
Yeah, it was a huge clip. Anyways, look,
Well,
I
I
don't know.
remember we were watching The Talking Dead too. We would watch The Talking Dead after every episode of The Walking Dead that would air. We watched it with my in-laws, and they filmed like 5 different versions of that episode because there was a leaked version that came out where because they said that 2 people were going to die. And one of the leaked versions that came out was that Maggie got killed, and the 2 people that died were Maggie and her baby because she was pregnant. And so I saw the scene where they killed Maggie. And so that got leaked. And then they even shot some scenes because in the comics, Negan does not shy away from the F word at all. That's his favorite word in the comics. And so they even filmed some scenes where they tried to like pitch to the network where Negan was dropping fuck everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. And there was even, like I said, there were versions of that filmed where they were trying to tell AMC, like, look, this is Negan for real. And if you want it to hit, this is what Negan sounds like. And they just obviously couldn't get it to go over the air because it was too many F-bombs. But yeah, man. So I fell off after that again because it slows down a lot. And then
It does, dude. Negan's like the worst. Like, yet again, it crescendos at Negan. Negan is the worst thing that they encounter. Like, after that, nothing pales to Negan. Nothing pales to that eeny, meeny, miny, mo moment, dude.
Yeah, like I know you get the wolves, I know you get the whisperers, I know you get a few different things like the kingdom and the heads on the stakes happen and all that stuff. And I haven't seen all that yet, but I know a lot about it. And like I said, it just feels like it was also in a weird point in the fandom and in the universe of The Walking Dead where it almost felt like and maybe it was from the beginning, but the walkers were no longer the biggest threat by any stretch. It was the people left
Right.
in this post-apocalyptic world that were the huge threat that you have to watch out for. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these zombies were becoming decrepit and couldn't even walk anymore, so weren't even really a threat. And so, and then don't even get me started on, again, spoiler, Carl's death, how they killed off Chandler Riggs just because he wanted to go to school. And so anyway,
Yeah, you said another non-comic accurate moment, you know. So
right, yeah, because I mean, Carl was supposed to be close with Negan.
You need to try the comic. Like I've always joked, The Walking Dead, because Daryl Dixon or whatever Daryl, he's not in the comic. The Walking Dead TV show was like if you didn't trust The Walking Dead and feel like you needed to add Wolverine, because that's what he is. He's like Wolverine. He's a solo guy. He rides a bike. He's tough. Like in the beginning, doesn't he have like a crossbow or something?
Yeah, he has
weird?
a crossbow for quite a while. Yeah,
he has the one weapon nobody else has, you know, like Wolverine in his claws. He is Wolverine in The Walking Dead. That's what he is. You can't kill him, you know. He's got a brother who's real ferocious, like Sabretooth, you know. I mean, he is literally like they said, we've got The Walking Dead, but we're not sure if this could make it. What if we added in Wolverine? And it's like, well, how do we do that? Well, we get a guy on a bike, and you can't kill him. He's got a cool weapon.
Well, and I think Daryl was supposed to die like in the first or second season, and he was just like so beloved that they had to keep him.
Dude, he's the most favorite character, and he's not in the comics. Like, I can't imagine somebody who like wants to go read the comics because of Daryl, and they go read, and he's not in there anywhere.
Where's Daryl? When does Daryl get introduced? He's here already in the show.
Well, I thought he was in the first episode, man. Like, what the hell?
Well, hey, I tell you my favorite character, and then we'll get off the soapbox because we're going crazy. But my favorite character up until the point that I stopped watching was Carol. Carol by far is my favorite. I feel like everything that she went through and then everything she had to do and the person that she became in order to like save her friends, no matter if it cost her everything, like she was just she was the baddest bitch in that show. And I love Carol. She was great.
What's funny is Carol is actually another character in the comic because real Carol dies like issue 10.
Right. And that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard, man. And so like, yeah, it's just
comic, like I said, you need to try the comic out. Like I said, you need to read that Wolverine comic first.
For sure.
Then we'll get you some good Spider-Man stories for the Spider-Man movie. We'll do some of that. But you got to get on you don't got to read Invincible because I'll tell you what, Invincible is almost beat for beat the comic.
That's what I've been told. So.
And if it's not, it's been improved or better fleshed out. Because Kirkman is total. Like at this point, Kirkman's got so much, ability, that or so much backing now. Like when he had The Walking Dead, he had nothing.
Right.
Like The Walking Dead kind of made him. In the comic book world, he was already made, but in Hollywood, he didn't have any influence really. Now he wants to make Invincible. He makes it the way he wants to make it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, hey, like I said, we went off on a little tangent about comics, but Matt's trying to indoctrinate me into the comic world, so it's working a little bit. All right, so look, that's going to do it for us from TK Wrestling, and maybe we'll eventually have to have a comic show, but that's going to do it for us from TK Wrestling. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that noti bell, comment down below what you thought, even about the comic stuff. Let us know what you thought down there below. Share it with your friends, and go check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Those are the only two we're on right now. And yeah, until next time, we'll see you guys later. Sami Zayn is the WWE champion.
Sami Zayn, baby!